how do you stay balanced in staying in the present right now?
It's a daily struggle. Some days are better than others. It's whenever something has complete power over you, it's like using against your will. When it hurts less letting go than it does hanging on.
As long as it's breath in my lungs, forever I'm fighting the reaper. They seeing the death in my features. The tears that I shed in the day is more than the leader. I guess I was needing a teacher. Shit, maybe a preacher come pray for me. Tell me that God ain't gon' leave us. Forever I'm staying believer. Face to face, laugh at the reaper. Knives in my back, yeah, they sold me a seat.
Yo, what's up? It's your main man, Vigilante, baby. I'm here at Vigilante World, and thank you for coming through for the Stop and Vibe podcast. And my guest with me today is none other than the main man himself, my brother from another mother, Billy Andrew Marks.
Yes, sir.
From Midlife Fix. What's going on, my man?
That's it.
Hey man, thank you for being here, bro, and blessing me with your presence. You know,
Thank you for having me.
And man, it's awesome to have you on your show. And before we get into what this man is bringing to the table, that is going to be a game changer out there in social media. If you're a person, matter of fact, I'm gonna let him talk about it. I'm gonna let him give me the introduction. I'm gonna let him do that. But before we do that, why don't you hit like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, man, if the conversation suits you, it's hitting the nerve, it's hitting the subject you want to explore, make a comment in the comments. Holla at your boy. So, Billy, let's start from the beginning. Midlife Fix. What's it about?
It's about a middle-aged man who, at 42 years old, 43 years old, lost all hope in life, drank himself almost to death, who lost his family, lost his business, lost his self-respect, his self-love, his self-worth, and was suicidal, and was at the bottom, baby. The only way there was up, and I had no clue what I was going to do. Had no clue how I was going to get out of it, and I had no job skills. I had nothing, no motivation, no faith, and I clawed my way back from the bottom with the help of God and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I found a lot of people that I follow on there that taught me how to become a man again and taught me that there is hope. None of these people I know, obviously,
Right.
But they helped me change my life. And now that I'm doing better than treading water, I would like to maybe help somebody else out.
And so how'd you come up with the name?
Midlife Fix, because when it first started, I was like, I'm in the middle of the woods on my property and just looking around like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And I was 42 years old, man. You know, like my youth, my prime is gone, so I thought. And yeah, I mean, what do you do? I wasted my life drinking and doing drugs. I never stuck to one thing for a long period of time. I knew how to train people, but I was out of shape. I let my health go. So, but nobody would dare ask me to train them. So I lived in a new place. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody that knew somebody that knew somebody. Wife was gone. Family's gone. I was, what they say, I had the gift of desperation.
The gift of desperation. Never heard that before. Please elaborate on that. The gift of desperation. Love that.
It's just what it is when your back's against the wall. You'd be amazed with the shit you can come up with when it's desperation. You don't have to know what to do, but you can always put one foot in front of the other. Couldn't get a job anywhere. I have a criminal record. Like I said, I didn't know anybody, and I applied to jobs online. Couldn't find anything. I started working at a labor pool, working odd jobs, picking up trash at the landfill sometime, picking up trash on the side of the landfill. And it really humbled me. but while I was doing all of that, I was also working on myself. So I started writing my goals down. And no matter what job, I don't care if it was picking up trash, I don't care if it was mopping the floor,
Yeah.
I don't care if it was setting up chairs. I kept it the forefront of my mind to do my best every day, no matter what it was, dressed nice to every job I went to.
Yeah.
Because I'd be showing up there, there'd be crackheads and alcoholics just there
Right.
to get a day's work just to get money to get their next fix.
Yeah.
But I dressed nice, and every little place that they sent me to, the original company wanted to hire me.
Wow.
So, because if they get a good person that comes in from the labor pool, they'll be like, hey, would you like to work for our company?
So give me the backdrop of who you were before you got to this point. Like before you got to the point where it says, man, I need help. And what was the turning point of? Because a lot of times we need help, but we live in a delusion of we don't need help. You know what I mean? And who were you before you actually figured out, like, man, I'm delusional. I actually need help. Who were you before that?
Well, it's a process that took years. When you're an alcoholic or an addict, you know, the good time ends way before I ended. It's whenever something has complete power over you, it's like using against your will. Eating that dessert against your will. Drinking that drink. I don't want to be an alcoholic no more, but you can't stop fucking drinking.
Yeah.
I don't want to smoke anymore, but you keep smoking. Or just whatever it is, I used against my will. I used to cry myself to sleep. Or not to sleep, but on my front porch because I started isolating. I neglected my wife. I sat on my front porch and I would cry every night just by myself. Say, I'm gonna quit tomorrow. I'm gonna quit. I did that for a very, very long time. It wasn't just like a week-long thing. I said, all right, that's it. It took the love of my life leaving me. That's what it really took. And in hindsight, what I came to was the only thing that kept me going was I believed my wife loved me.
Mm.
That was the only love I thought I had that I did have in my life because I didn't love myself. And I wasn't loving her because I couldn't even love myself. And when she didn't love me no more, that's when I was really alone. Not just isolated, I was alone. And I had no choice but to look at myself. Can't blame nobody. Can't make excuses. You can have a pity party. Nobody's gonna show up to that.
Yeah, it's only just you and the man in the mirror.
That's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even look in the mirror.
You wouldn't even look in the mirror.
No.
Well, a thing to do. And I mean, especially when you're at that stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you? Because obviously, there's some people that has no idea of how addiction works, and they might listen to that and say, well, why you need to just stop? If you really wanted to do it that bad, why you just couldn't just stop? Can you explain that to a person in layman term? What's that like?
It's there's an argument out there that it's not a disease. It's just a weak mind. They got a weak mind, no willpower. If that's the case, then how come some people stop but can't stay stopped? How come they pick back up a week later or a month later or a year later? It's because it's a spiritual disease. It's something like you're looking at me, I'm looking at you.
Right.
But you don't see me. You just see what I'm riding around in. I don't see you. Your me is a thing talking to you right now while I'm talking to you. That's your me.
Oof.
You're
True.
We aren't a human being having a spiritual experience. We're a spiritual being having a human experience. So
Say that one more time.
make sure I didn't say it backwards. We're not a human being having a spiritual experience. We're a spiritual being having a human experience. So that thing that talks to you all the time,
Yeah.
that's your me. That's my me. That's where the disease of addiction lies. You can't put it under a microscope, and the way I think puts me at dis-ease, a disease. So I had it before I ever picked up alcohol. I had that something where I always felt like I didn't fit in. Growing up, when I went through my good-looking popular stages, and a lot of girls liked me, and all the guys, hey, what's up? And I was cool. I still felt like that. I have insecurities. No matter how many girls back when it did something for your ego when you was a young buck.
Yeah.
No matter what it did for my ego, I'd still have all these insecurities. I'd still have all this stuff. So it's a little different for everybody. But I cannot have one beer. I ain't gonna snort one line. I ain't gonna pop one roll. I'm gonna do all the shit. And it is devastating. It destroys my life. And it's because instead of working through that problem, that spiritual battle I have with me, with my me,
yeah,
it helps me not fight that my me, feeling uncomfortable in my skin, thinking about all the stuff, living either in the past, in living in the future. You know, they say if you live in the past, that manifests into depression. If you live in the future, that manifests into anxiety. Always worried about the future or dwelling on the past when you're really supposed to be right in the middle. They say if you got one foot in the past, one foot in the future, you're shitting on the present, and the present's a gift.
Yeah.
So
how do you stay balanced in staying in the present right now?
It's a daily struggle. Some days are better than others. You know, and I don't think that's just for addicts. I think that's just for human beings in general. One thing that I'm trying to learn to do is meditation. It's really hard for me to do that. My mind's crazy as shithouse rat, man. It's bouncing all over everywhere.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to just get a thought and let it go. Get a thought, let it go, and stay in the present. It's a practice, man. Just like anything, it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice, and like our character defects. Like I worked on my character defects. There's character defects and there's shortcomings. A character defect, the best analogy I heard, a character defect, once you work on yourself and you get honest with yourself and have to say, I'm a jealous person, I have anger issues, I'm a glutton, whatever.
You gotta really call it like it is, like really have that point blank. Okay.
And once you admit to yourself, okay, damn, if we all knew what was wrong with us, then we could all fix ourselves and be perfect.
Very true.
We don't know what the fuck's wrong with us. Addict, a normie, as we call them, it doesn't matter. We have our character defects.
Got normies, well, okay.
So it's almost like vampires and daywalkers, right?
But one of them normies.
Yeah, just not addicts, you know. Yeah. But the character defects, like having a car and having a flat tire, but you know that that's flat. A shortcoming is driving the motherfucker anyways. Like you got something you don't say, you get real mad. You're like, Billy, you know you got an anger problem.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna fucking say it anyways. Yeah. That's a shortcoming.
But do you think? But that's why I asked you earlier. Don't you think that because everybody has some type of addict-like problem in some way, even if that's being a workaholic, because we have like we spoke today, it's a lot of anonymous groups out there, which I didn't even know. It's probably hundreds, maybe, out there. So don't you think that because we as society don't characterize it as a problem, then it's not a problem? Like I think people who overeat, I think that's an addiction to food.
Yeah, it is.
I think if you're full and you're still eating and consuming, and you got to a point where you can't even move, you know what I mean? You're not doing anything to stop it. I think you might have a problem, with your consumption.
And some people call it an addictive personality, whatever. It's something to get outside of yourself, to get out of that me, and it's what it is. It's something you're powerless over. This is all in the 12 steps, so I don't want to act like I wrote this shit.
Right.
It's stuff I've learned. It's something you're powerless over, but it makes your life unmanageable.
Something you're powerless over, but it makes your life
Step
unmanageable.
one, we admitted that we were powerless in our lives. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction, and it has made our lives unmanageable.
So you look at your relationships, you look at what's been broken, what you can't fix, that hard look.
Powerless over people, places, and things. Yeah.
So if a person was watching right now, how do I know I have a problem? How do I know I have a problem?
Well, for one, you'd have to get honest with yourself. But if it's something that makes your life unmanageable, it could be this thing. You don't get shit done. I just seen an ad on my news feed. They got a thing now, a sleeve. You can put this in and lock it, and it will not open until, say, you want 2 hours, but it will allow you to open it and just answer it, like if you get a call. But you can't mess with nothing on it. This could make your life. Porn, cigarettes, eating, so many things, man. It's just it's hard to sit in the living room with your family and smoke crack and watch TV. You know what I mean? But you can sit there and eat a tub of ice cream. It's whatever makes your life unmanageable, man. Yeah, it ain't necessarily got to be something devastating, but eating, you know.
Yeah.
The list could go on and on.
Yeah.
But
what do you, if a person is dating or in a relationship with a person who is in that stage of not feeling they need help, not that they identify, but they identify this person might have a problem, what should their movement be? Do you have any encouraging words? Like, how do you...
there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. They can try. I mean, they can have a talk. They can say how they feel. But for me, I'm an alcoholic. If my ex would have said, would you please quit drinking? I wouldn't have said, oh yeah, okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know? There's a group, it's called, I believe it's Al-Anon or something like that. It's for people and codependent people who are with substance abuse partners that's abuse substance. It's I can't really say what they're recommended to do because I'm the substance abuser. You know.
Do you think those things, even if you heard it, would it seem foreign to you in some way?
No, because it's still a 12-step program. It's still a 12-step program, and it stems to a lot of childhood trauma. Like, say, a kid who grew up with an alcoholic parent. You always want to like make sure they're happy and shit like that. It gets really deep, man. I mean, there's hundreds of books on it. You know, there's no way I could sum it up.
Earlier you guys said all of our problems stem from some childhood trauma.
I wouldn't say all, but yeah.
Somewhere in our life it stems from.
Yeah. Like I said, I learned later in life I have abandonment issues because my dad abandoned me. But I didn't realize that until I started doing some work on myself.
Right.
And then it's like, holy shit, I have abandonment issues. And I also found out that I'm a codependent.
Explain to somebody simply what is codependency.
I can explain to you what an addict is, an alcoholic. It's the same thing, by the way, an alcoholic and addict. It's just alcohol is socially acceptable and it's legal. I enjoy drinking beer more than I enjoy smoking crack. That's all it is. That's just my drug of choice. Codependent, growing up, when I say growing up, even as like a young adult, and I'd hear codependent, I would think that, oh, that's somebody that's real needy. And it's so far more intricate and entangled. It's like an entangled web. You could be the polar opposite of needy. You could be completely avoidant, put up walls. You can even be intimately avoidant, sexually avoidant, and all it is something to protect yourself from being hurt. And you do it and you don't even realize it.
So what is the symptoms? What does that person end up doing? Does that person end up excluding the other person that they're with, but when they go to leave, they go say, come back, come back, come back.
It's like this.
Wow.
Stay awake. But we can't even sum it up in an interview or a little segment. It's the book I just read by Melody Beadle is Codependent No More, and it's 300 pages of examples. You can't really, and that's just one book.
But this right here, that says a lot right here. This notion right here, that says a whole lot.
Yeah.
Come here, but stay away. You know, like, and you're caught in the middle. And I think for some people in relationships or in their family, we get caught in the middle. Do I help them or do I just leave him be?
Remember, that's what we talked about, that powerlessness. You're powerless over people. And it's very hard to say, to give it to God and go, they're going to do what they're going to do regardless of what I do. And we lose ourselves trying to get them, to manipulate them to do what we want them to do. Manipulation comes in all forms. And we don't even realize we're doing it because it becomes a learned behavior. It becomes a part of who we are.
Right.
And we manipulate, we even say things to get a certain reaction out of us. But we don't even realize we do it. Like even in, youngsters playing, like he's a player, whatever. You boil it down, it's manipulation. It comes in so many forms.
It does.
We manipulate the ones we love the most and don't even realize we're doing it because it's a learned behavior. It's automatic. It's brushing your teeth. We do it. It's the way we talk. It's the way we behave. But once you do a little work on yourself and read a lot about this stuff, you're a step ahead of the game, man. You're like, damn. And you can't even tell the other person, like, you're fucking manipulating me. You're fucking gaslighting and manipulating me. No, I'm not. They probably really believe they're not because it's wired in them. That's the only way that person, myself, knows how to manipulate. I mean, that's the only way we know how to communicate.
Right. Because we've been doing it all our life.
And we've been doing it all our life. It's not, you're not a bad person, but that's all you know. That's all you know. So, but once you start learning this shit, you're like, it's the matrix. You can't fucking unsee it once you know it. You may not even be able to diagnose it and say it just right. And like, you're doing this because of this, because of that, and you're expecting this. But you know it's happening, but you might be able to look at the puzzle,
right,
but you can't put the pieces together yourself, but you can see the fucking puzzle.
So when do you in the relationship, at what point do you draw the line? At what point do you move yourself out of the equation? At what point do you say, okay, I have to make the first step to do this because it's gotten to this point? Because a lot of people don't know what point that is, and sometimes it gets too far into the point. You know what I mean? Like, at what point do you kind of like make that move?
I'll tell you what my mentor told me, and I said, I was venting to him, and I said, this particular part might not be relevant. There isn't a line there. There isn't a line. You got to think. There's 8 billion different people.
Right.
And if you throw 2 of them together, that makes 4 billion different relationships, just for conversation.
Yes.
So every one of the 4 billion relationships are different. Imagine a fucking computer screen of encrypted code. They're all different. And there can't be a line everywhere. You know why E equals MC squared is so difficult? Because it's not a one answer formula. E is energy equal to mass, C squared. It's basically what equals that energy. Say you got a ball. How much does it weigh? How fast is it flying? How hard does it hit the fucking wall? That's where all these physics and everything.
It's a lot of variables.
There's so many variables in it, and it's just like that with a relationship too. And manipulation and childhood trauma, what happened to this person versus this happened, what we've learned, what's ingrained, what's embedded in us, and then you had love. And when is enough? And then,
how much can the heart take?
Then you watch all these not expert reels, they're saying, fuck that bitch, leave that motherfucker. and then you agree with it, right? And then you go to another reel and it's like, hang on, make it through it.
Yeah.
Y'all can do anything if both people really work. You agree with that motherfucker.
Right,
and then you're like, fuck the bitch. I love the bitch.
Yeah,
Wait, you know,
yeah. You
I agree with both of them. And so it's, I wish it was black and white, man. It's just not. There's so much fucking gray matter in there. And when is that line? I think when it becomes so extremely unhealthy for you and you just cannot, when it hurts less letting go than it does hanging on. I think that's when that line's different for everybody. It depends on how resilient and how persistent you are. And I'm a persistent and a very resilient motherfucker. So you gotta put it, if you're gonna beat my ass, you gotta disable me for me to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to, I'm not gonna go, okay, that's enough, man. Like, you gotta beat me into submission.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love my motherfucking wife to death.
Yeah.
But when it's like, what's the sign from God? Give it to God. But it also says faith without works is dead. So
Yeah.
when I wish there was a 2 + 2 = 4. And you might think that, and you go look back and you go, hold on, there's another equation that goes 3 + 1 = 4 too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very complex, man. It's very complex. When do you let go? And I think it just, when there ain't nothing left to hold on to, man.
I think that's well said right there.
Gotta
When
run
ain't
its course.
When ain't nothing left to hold on to. Well, Mr. Billy Andrew Marks, I appreciate you for coming to the stop and vibing out, dude. Can you please let them know where they can find you at? You know what I mean?
Instagram is mid_life_fix, and on Facebook it's Midlife Fix, or just Billy Marks, my personal page.
That's what's up. Well, you gonna be on the show again, man?
Absolutely.
My brother from another mother, appreciate you for coming on the show. Make sure y'all go follow him. And yo, this is Stop and Vibe. I'm Vigilante here at Vigilante World at the Stop and Vibe podcast. Until next time, take on the world because you can and be good because you're good at it. Until next time, peace, love, and God bless. I'll let your boy later.
Jokers on you, I don't really wanna shoot, but if I got two, nigga, take two. Haters gon' hate, please stay the fuck in my way. Please stay the fuck in my way. Haters gon' hate, you don't give a fuck with say you as long as you don't come my way. Haters gon' hate, please get the fuck in my way. Please get the fuck in my way. Haters gon' hate.